Horse beef here, guys. What's going on? I want to talk about the UFC's fucking White House card that's apparently coming in 2026 if Donald Trump's words are to be taken seriously. Now, I take it very seriously because Donald Trump, Dana White, they have a great little relationship going on. So I have no doubt that this is going to happen and could honestly be the biggest event that the UFC's ever put on, realistic, right? And could be the biggest event of all time for the UFC as far as viewership, because this will draw in eyes from American citizens that otherwise would have no interest in MMA to begin with. So I fully expect this to be a massive event. It's supposed to take place on the front lawn of the White House, which just sounds amazing and kind of just harkens back to old gladiatorial times, man, when entertainment was just two people fighting each other to the death. But since we are in more civilized times, just, fighting each other until one cannot continue, which I will take very much as well. And I just love the idea. I think it's fantastic. I think it's fucking awesome, man. Donald Trump as a president, I mean, I can't speak too much on it because I don't live in the U.S. personally. I know he's a pretty divisive figure, very, very polarizing. But as fight fans, can any of us deny that this is absolutely fucking awesome?
We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little... We're not. Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. Going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 25,000 people.
And of course, off the back of this news, Jon Jones unretires, re-enters himself into the testing pool. It says fighting at the White House, which leads me to believe one thing, right? Or one of two things to be true. Either Jon Jones knew about this White House event, which, I mean, like, you have to assume that some of the biggest stars in the sport must have been privy to this event taking place, because you would expect that Donald Trump would probably want an American, right? If there's going to be a title fight, you would expect there to be an American involved, and considering that with Jon Jones' retirement vacating the heavyweight title, there being no American champions other than Kayla Harrison, like, would you expect Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes to headline the White House card? It is possible, right? But I'm not sure when that America 250 celebration is supposed to take place, right? And would you expect Kayla Harrison to sit out for that long, right, in order to make this fight happen? I'm not too sure. So this leads me to believe that Jon Jones will fight and headline the UFC White House card simply because he's an American, he's Jon Jones, and it just makes a lot of sense, man, with how Jon Jones has spoken. He's been kind of clear, but also extremely vague in certain instances, like when he was on the Full Send podcast talking about how there are things going on in the background. He was a bit intoxicated. Maybe he wasn't supposed to say it, but he did kind of say the quiet part out loud, that he's the one who's just agreed to take the brunt of all this shit, which leads me to believe that the man isn't actually retired, and maybe this UFC White House card has been the end game all along, but maybe I'm wrong here. I could definitely be wrong.
I'm a company guy, and there's a lot of things that's happening behind the scenes where my job is just sit and be still and take the punishment. My job at the UFC is to do what's right for the company. I could easily just say I'm not fighting. My job is to chill, and that's what I'm doing.
I know, you're a smart guy.
So from these two clips that I showed you, you can gather two things, right? The first clip, it sounds very much like he's being secretive and he's hiding what's going on in the background. But then in the second clip, he's talking about my job is to do what's best for the company. And what he says right after it, I could just say, I'm not fighting. So to me, it's almost like Jon Jones knows that he's being used as a bargaining chip for these streaming services. So really, it's still all up in the air. I have no idea what's going on. But if Jon Jones does have some inside information and he's in the know of some massive news or some massive fights that are in the making or whatever, it could be anything. It could be Jon Jones, Francis Ngannou. It could be Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall. Who knows what it is? But if Jon Jones truly is in the know of something big coming that just hasn't been announced yet, then he's done an incredible job. But at the same time, still, fuck him for icing out Tom Aspinall's career, because it doesn't seem like Tom Aspinall seems to be in the know of anything going on. So maybe this is just wishful thinking for me, and Jon Jones just has been a twat and iced out Tom Aspinall's career for this long just out of spite for him. So yeah, now that I'm vocalizing, it probably just is wishful thinking. Maybe Jon Jones had no idea about this, but the announcement of this potential UFC White House card, of course, is going to interest any of these big names, right? Because like I said, this could potentially be the biggest card of all time. And of course, with an announcement like this, Conor McGregor has to make it known that he wants to fight on this card. He wants to fight on every major card, even though it never ends up transpiring. But let's take a look at what he has to say here. My accuracy is my superpower. Most do not know this, but in my right eye, I have 20/10 vision. I am of the 1% of humans that has this. In my left, I am 20/20. Interesting. Okay, accuracy is final. I have most KOs of all by a long shot, and I've been chilling on my yachts the last 4 years. That's exactly why we don't want to see you fight, Conor McGregor. It's exactly why we don't want to see you fight, man. To return at the White House with my sniper accuracy would be a very intriguing offer and would bring me back into focus on my return correctly. Vote McGregor. Oh my goodness, man. This dude is just holding us at the end of a stick with a fucking carrot dangling. That's how he treats his UFC career at this point. Like, are we that stupid? Are we really to believe that Conor McGregor is returning for any legitimate contest? I don't believe that he will. I don't believe so. And I'm not a massive Conor McGregor hater. I don't hate the guy. I think he's funny, and I think he's treated unfairly in the media at times. But the man is anything but a legitimate fighter at this point. He simply made too much money, right? He's simply done too many things. He has too many different endeavors to actually insert himself into fighting correctly. It's impossible for him to reinsert himself. I don't actually think he can do it. I don't think so. And I don't want him to do it either, right? If I was him, personally speaking, right, I wouldn't want to do it. Fuck all that shit. I got yachts. I'm living nice. You're right. You have your legacy set. You were a double champ and all this. What is the need to come back and get knocked out once again? That's what I think is going to happen. Like, Conor McGregor, just like Jon Jones, I believe, is afraid to be forgotten by fight fans. He wants to be remembered as a fighter, so he's constantly inserting himself into the conversation. But you're not a fighter anymore, man, and that's okay. That's okay. You were a fighter. You did exactly what you said you were going to do. You got in, you got rich, you got out. But the man just cannot close the door. He just can't close the door. I mean, for fuck's sake, the extent of Conor McGregor's training is essentially just him hitting pads on a beach, making a spectacle of himself. And that's about it. Like, he looks slow. He looks stiff. He just does not. He looks like a shell of his former self, and it's exactly why. Like, we don't need to see this, man. Like, at best, Conor McGregor should fight influencers, and I hate that term. I hate influencer boxing these days. I just think it's such a joke. But ultimately, Conor McGregor looks like he's fit to fight Jake Paul at this point, and that's what I want to see. Because honestly, I think Conor McGregor, if you took it seriously enough, he could easily knock out Jake Paul. He could easily beat Jake Paul. And that's all I think that he can do at this point. Like, no more professional MMA fighters who are tough as nails, who have their head in the game, and who don't have 4 yachts. You know what I mean? Anyone else but someone who has 4 yachts. I'm sorry. These things don't pertain to the life of a fighter, really. And plus, he has all these, civil suits and all that shit going on like this. There's just no way that Conor McGregor could possibly dedicate himself fully to a fight camp enough to give us faith, enough for him to actually perform to any sort of level, even comparable to him in his prime. It's just no way at this point. His age combined with all of the drugs and the time off and the lifestyle, there's just no reason to imagine Conor McGregor coming back to the UFC at any point, even for this White House card. I just don't see it, guys. I'm sorry, Conor McGregor fans. I get it, but his time is simply done with, in my opinion. And then we have Andrew Tate throwing his hat in the ring, talking about, call me Dana White, I'll fight, and this is just not going to happen, right? Anyone who thinks that this will happen is insane, in my opinion. I just don't see this happening. There is no possible way that Dana White would associate himself with Andrew Tate. Like, whether you believe the accusations levied at Andrew Tate or not, there's just no possible way that Dana White would associate himself with him after all of these controversies. I just don't see it. And like, whether he even has a chance of winning a fight is a different matter entirely. In my opinion, he absolutely does not. Like, I actually am one of these people who believes that Andrew Tate is underrated by most people on the internet. Like, most people who just see that he fought like under organizations that weren't Glory or K1 at the time, right? And just assume that he's a low-level kickboxer. No, Andrew Tate is actually quite a good fighter. He's quite a skilled striker. He is a good kickboxer with very unfortunate tendencies that would lead to him getting chinned in the UFC, I believe, against any sort of a serious fighter. That's my opinion. I wouldn't give him a shot, right? But him throwing his hat in the ring, he knows he won't get a fight here. It's just not going to happen. He's just trying to get himself publicity. But of course, that would be very much welcome. I wouldn't mind it, right? Fight night on the White House lawn, that is already a freak show as it is. So give us as many freak show matchups as you possibly can. Make it a fucking circus for all I care. Give us the craziest fights that you can think of, and I'll be happy, right? I want Dan Henderson and Vitor Belfort taken out of retirement and injected with the most illegal and powerful PEDs known to man. Known to man. And I want them back to their primes, looking like super soldiers and slugging it out. I want this to be a freak show event. That's all I care about, because that's what this should be. I think all of the craziest matchups that could possibly be put together should be put on a card like this. Abso-fucking-lutely. I think Kayla Harrison, like whether or not she's still champion at this point, I think if she is the only American champion, she will be on this card 100%. But if John Jones and his words are to be believed, then there's no reason why he won't headline a card like this against Tom Aspinall. Very doubtful. But John Jones against Francis Ngannou, very, very, very possible. But at the end of the day, man, it's all speculation. Like this is presumably an entire year away, so it remains to be seen what exactly will happen here, or whether this card will even happen or not. In my opinion, the way I see it, this would not have been spoken about unless it was already in the works to begin with. So I think this will happen. I do think it'll happen. It'll be a massive night, massive card. I just want to come on here and talk to you guys about potential matchups and what I think about certain things here and there surrounding this announcement. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.